Michael Johnson was a man people trusted without hesitation. Broad-shouldered and steady-eyed, he had served as a firefighter for over 20 years in the small town of Mapleton. Neighbors hailed him as a hero, someone who had faced raging infernos and rescued loved ones from danger. He wore his uniform with pride, guided by duty, honor, and the belief that every life was worth protecting. Over time, however, his views had hardened, and his judgments were increasingly clouded by personal bias. On the outskirts of town lived David Anderson, a retired Marine Corps veteran. David kept mostly to himself in a modest, weathered cabin, its walls adorned with military medals, cherished photographs of his late wife, and letters from his daughter living across the country. Although he had survived fierce battles overseas, David's most enduring challenge was learning to control the lingering scars of his past. He rarely spoke of his service, only on rare occasions when asked, he would share a brief story of the sacrifices made in the name of duty. Few in Mapleton knew that, during his time in the Marines, David had saved countless lives. Not only had he acted decisively on the battlefield, but during a catastrophic flood in a neighboring county, he had risked everything to rescue dozens trapped by the rising waters. That heroic act, though once a proud memory, had faded into the background, until fate intervened in a most unexpected way. One sweltering August day, a call came into the fire station. A house was on fire at the edge of town, and the flames were spreading rapidly. Michael and his team immediately geared up. When Michael saw the address, his expression darkened. The burning home belonged to David Anderson. Michael had heard unverified rumors about David's controversial political leanings, and in that moment, a bitter thought crossed his mind: why should I risk my life for someone who might not have my back? His muttered words were lost in the roar of the engine as the fire truck sped through Mapleton streets. At the scene, smoke billowed from the windows as David coughed and shouted for help, his arms waving desperately. Michael's jaw tightened as he watched him. Without a word, he barked orders at his crew to contain the blaze. "Don't risk yourselves for someone who probably thinks we're expendable," he commanded. Although his crew hesitated for a split second, unsure if they'd heard him correctly, the urgency in his tone left no room for debate. They focused on controlling the fire while David stood helplessly as his home was consumed by flames. The next day, news of the fire spread quickly throughout Mapleton. Some praised Michael's decision, insisting that people like David didn't deserve saving, while others were outraged, questioning how a firefighter could abandon a neighbor in need. Michael shrugged off the criticism, firmly believing he had done the right thing. Then an unexpected twist emerged. A reporter from a nearby town began investigating David's past and unearthed a story that rocked the community. Years earlier, during a devastating flood in a neighboring county, a Marine had risked his life to save dozens of people caught in the rising waters. That Marine was none other than David Anderson. Among those he rescued was a young mother and her 2 children, the very family Michael's wife had once described to him, though he had never known the man's name. Confronted with this revelation, Michael felt his world tilt. He realized that the man he had dismissed was the same hero who had ensured his own family's survival. Haunted by regret and unable to sleep, Michael drove to what remained of David's cabin. David sat silently on the porch, staring at the charred ruins of his home. When Michael approached, David didn't immediately look up. "I owe you an apology," Michael began, his voice heavy with remorse. David finally met his gaze, his tired eyes reflecting a lifetime of loss. "Why?" he asked quietly, "was it because I let your house burn down, or because you think you're not worth saving?" Michael swallowed hard. "I didn't know who you were. I didn't know about what you did for my family," he admitted, recounting the story of the flood, the rescue, and the gratitude that had filled his wife's heart. David listened silently until Michael finished. Then, nodding slowly, he said, "I didn't save your family because I knew them personally, I did it because it was the right thing to do. We're supposed to help each other, regardless of our differences. And you let your politics blind you." The truth stung, but Michael recognized the weight of David's words. "I'm sorry," he repeated. I can't undo what's been done, but I want to help you rebuild. It's the least I can do. After a long pause, David nodded. If you're serious about making amends, start by remembering that every life has value, even when we don't see eye to eye. Over the following months, Michael worked tirelessly alongside the community to rebuild David's home. Neighbors donated supplies, and many lent a hand in the reconstruction effort. For Michael, the project became more than repairs, it was a lesson in humility and a powerful reminder of the importance of compassion. For David, the tragedy turned into an opportunity to move forward, enriched by the new friendships that had emerged from the ashes. In the end, the fire that had once symbolized division transformed into a spark for unity, a testament to the idea that understanding and empathy can bridge even the widest divides. And for Michael Johnson, it was a chance to truly earn the title of hero.